No. Today we're doing lesson 9-1. It's on ratios and proportions. The assignment is page 353. Evens 16 through 44. And all 47 through 50. Because there's a couple people that aren't here. There's 3 people not here today, and they might watch it. Okay? And those are the problems we're doing. Okay? All right. So those at home want to pause it right now because I'm going to change screens. Okay. We learned what is a ratio. Okay. What is a ratio, you guys? It's a comparison of 2 numbers by division, right? We have corrected all assignments and turned them in. I did not give an assignment last time. So if you have an old assignment, you want to go turn it in. Okay, comparison of 2 numbers by division. We can write it in 4 different ways. We already talked about this, A over B, A to B like that, A to B like that, or A divided by B like that. All of those are saying the same thing. Okay? Chris? Comparison of 2 numbers by division. Those are the 4 ways to write it. Now, one of the things I want you guys to do is simplify fractions. Let's say I have 5 over 10. Everybody should be able to look at that one and say what it simplifies to be. What does it simplify to be? 1 over 2. Okay? You should be able to simplify easy ones. Now, what if I gave you something like 364 over 828? 828, and I asked you to simplify that. Yeah, middle one for your class. Okay, I want you to know, you guys, that your calculators will actually do this for you. It's good to know how to do things by hand, but a lot of people do. Most other countries, they don't let their students use calculators. But they're advanced. They're kind of further advanced than us as far as that goes, as far as thinking of the math. They can do mental math better than we can. But there's advantages of having calculators, and that's why we have them. Okay? But I want to show you guys how to simplify these. Go to your home screen, and you're going to put in 364 divided by 828. Now, if I just hit enter right now, I'm going to get a decimal, right? Okay. But if you go math, just math, number 1 fraction, and hit enter, it will actually reduce it for you. 91 over 207. That calculator does it faster than the graphing calculators. The graphing calculator, you guys, actually is made for graphing things. And so it does the other things slower. Okay? If you want a calculator that does all the other stuff faster, you get one like Matt has. It's not a graphing calculator. The graphing calculator will do a lot more things than that one, but it won't do it as fast. Okay? So, those are some of the things you need to know. Now, you guys, there are things that in real life that you use ratios for. How many of you guys have ever mixed gas and oil? A 2-cycle engine. Who's mixed gas and oil for a 2-cycle engine? No one? Okay. All right. Give me an example of what it might say. It'll say a quart for 1 gallon. Okay. So what kind of a ratio is that? How much is a quart of a gallon? Yeah. It's a 1 to 4 ratio. They might say something like that. They could say take one. They might say it's 1 part. They might say it's 1 part oil and 4 parts gas. It just depends on how it says it. Okay, but they might express it as a ratio. So you need to understand what those are. Okay. It might be, 3 parts to 16 parts, a 3 to 16 ratio. Okay, something like that. Okay, it just depends on what you're mixing. So if you're going to ever work on engines, you need to know how to do simple ratios like that, or drive a lawnmower. Yeah, because some of them are 2-cycle engines and they require mixing the gas and oil. Okay, so that is an example of ratios. Proportions. Because a proportion is just two equivalent ratios. For example, 20 over 30 is equal to 2 over 3, right? That's an equivalent ratio. You guys see my 10 times projects? 10 times projects have to do with proportions. Okay? Ratios and proportions. What was that? And you did it for shape. Well, it's not that hard of a concept. Well, you did. You just didn't know you were. Well, yeah, and that's what you're doing. It's a 10-to-1 ratio. You didn't think ratio, but you were doing ratios. Okay? So, but that was a pretty simple one. All you have to do is, Matt, all you have to do is make it 10 times, Matt, all you have to do is make it 10 times bigger on those, right? Okay? Huh? It won't work because I can't measure that. Got to have something I can measure. Okay? So the last quarter, you guys, we're going to all do 10 times projects. And it's going to be worth a good portion of your grade for that quarter. So the CRT test at the end of the quarter. So, yeah. No, I'm not even kidding you. That's going on your grade. Of course it goes on your grade. I've taught you everything for the whole year. I need you to do really well on that. That's going on your grade. Just so you know. Okay, so how do we use ratios, you guys? If I have the ratio A over B equals C over D, we have what we call a cross product of those. Some people call it cross product, but you can use it to solve equations. I need everybody to look up here for a second, because I know some of you guys are doing something else right now. I need you to understand this. I can write an equivalent expression if I cross multiply right here. A times D is equal to B times C. See that? I multiplied A and D together and B and C together. That will aid us in solving problems. There are actually a lot of problems in the real world, simple problems that you can solve using proportions. Okay, let's say I had something like this. I had x over 10 equals 80 over, let's say, 90. And I needed to find out what x was going to be. Okay, well, I can use this idea of cross products. I can go x times 90 and 10 times 80. And I get that, and I divide by 90. Someone tell me what 800, well, that's 8 divided by 9, right? And then what's 80 divided by 9? 88.8. And so 88.8 repeated. So you know that your amount is about 88.8 repeated. Okay, and you're going to be solving problems using that method right there of cross multiplication. And that's about it. So you have your assignment. I kind of went over some simple ones that are on your assignment, and that's what you're doing. Okay? Okay, we're going to do number 34. X plus 2 over 16 equals 7 over 4. Okay, I'm going to cross multiply. I'm going to go 4 times x plus 2 is equal to 7 times 16, right? I've got to distribute. 4 times x and 4 times 2. 4 times x is 4x, 4 times 2 is 8. Tell me what 7 times 16 is. Put it in your calculator real quick. 112. And then I have that equation. All I have to do is solve that equation. Minus 8. And I get 4x equals, what is that, 104? Divide by 4. And the answer, x equals 26, like that. Got it?